yours is grown?
No, nothing like that. You're pretty.
I won't know how to court and spark him.
That's what a feller does to a girl.
How? What does he do?
A mummified body was discovered in an old wine cellar beneath an abandoned house in Louisiana. The female corpse had completely dried, wrapped in a faded floral bedsheet, with no identification papers, no traceable markers, except for one detail that instantly turned everything strange: a familiar pink headband, identical to the one worn by Elly May Clampett in the television series The Beverly Hillbillies. The house once belonged to Donna Douglas, the actress who portrayed Elly May and who had abruptly withdrawn from Hollywood at the height of her fame. After 1971, she lived a reclusive life, never remarried, had no children, rejected the media, refused comebacks, and devoted her remaining years to church and evangelical speaking. When investigators began examining the scene, they found a genuine leather-bound notebook, sealed with beeswax and copper wire, hidden behind a wall recess near the rotting wine rack. The handwriting inside matched Donna Douglas's known letters. Its pages documented unscripted filming sessions, silencing threats, and a list of names she claimed she was never allowed to mention. The first page read, "I was not allowed to leave the role. I was only allowed to be buried with it." And that was just the beginning. The sealed cellar, the leather notebook, the identity of the mummified corpse, all pointed toward a secret buried for more than 3 decades. Stay with us. Because the truth about Donna Douglas may be far different from what we were led to believe. The mysterious disappearance and the truth behind it. Donna Douglas was never a noisy celebrity. She didn't stir up controversy, didn't chase scandal, and never shattered the image that audiences came to adore. And perhaps it was precisely this quiet grace that made her sudden disappearance from Hollywood, all while the spotlight still shone on her name, so haunting to so many, for so long. To American television audiences of the 1960s, Donna Douglas was Elly May Clampett. From the very first episode of the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962, the character, a wholesome country girl who loved animals and stayed honest in a world of unfamiliar luxury, became a phenomenon. With golden hair, a tied-up checkered shirt, a gentle smile, and a kind heart, Elly May embedded herself into American pop culture, not by chasing attention, but by embodying a sincerity rare in an industry already leaning toward spectacle. The show ran for 8 seasons, nearly a decade, and Donna Douglas was almost inseparable from the character. People would say she wasn't playing Elly May, she was Elly May, both on screen and off. She lived simply, held firm to her religious faith, and rejected anything that strayed from traditional values. Perhaps that's why audiences loved her even more. But perhaps that's also why it became impossible for her to leave unnoticed. When the Beverly Hillbillies ended in 1971, she didn't take on any significant roles afterward. No talk show appearances. No new scripts. No TV promotions. She declined reunion specials, stayed away from nostalgia events, and never wrote a memoir, despite being asked many times. No one truly knew what happened. Some say she simply wanted a quiet life, far from the spotlight. Others believe religion became her only path forward. But there were also whispers, quiet, never confirmed, that Donna may have endured pressures behind the scenes. That the pure image of Elly May had become a gilded cage, one she could no longer control. And that behind the fame stood another version of Donna, silent, unsettled, and forever burdened by the need to remain quiet. No one asked too many questions. And she left no clear answers. Only an absence that stretched across decades, like a missing page torn from a biography, right when the story was getting good. The mummy found in the wine cellar. It's easy for the public to believe that Donna Douglas passed away peacefully. That she chose a life fulfilled by God, by the quiet countryside, by the simple values Hollywood could never hold on to. But life doesn't always end the way we expect. And no one imagined that nearly 3 decades after she vanished from the spotlight, a mummified body would be found curled up in a sealed cellar beneath the very house she once lived in. That cellar didn't appear on any blueprint. It was only discovered when a renovation crew removed the rotting floorboards and noticed the outline of a concrete staircase. They followed the narrow path, flashlights in hand and masks over their faces to block out the damp, musty air, and then they saw it, a cramped room, cold, dark, and thick with the dust of forgotten time. In the corner, pressed against the stone wall, lay a shriveled corpse, skin stretched tight over bone, still resting on its side, as though no one had found or comforted her for years. She wore no shoes. No jewelry. No ID. Just a thin cotton dress and a pink headband, the kind of accessory long thought to exist only in American television memory. There was no blood. No stab wound. But behind the skull, a fine fracture ran along the bone, nearly invisible unless caught under forensic light. Around the body were splinters of broken wood, a shattered picture frame, and several rusted electrical wires coiled tightly around an old wine rack. No one could confirm her identity with certainty. But every detail, the time, the space, the objects, and the imagery, pointed to one name. And with it came a chilling question. If Donna Douglas truly lay here, then who was it that publicly died of cancer in 2015? And if she didn't pass away then, who had been living in her place, quietly, or deliberately deceiving the world? The cellar was cold, damp, lined with cracks that ran like words never spoken. There was no farewell letter. No sign of a plea for help. Yet in that total silence, one could feel the weight of despair, not the kind that screams, not the kind that rebels, but the kind that waits, until forgotten. A woman once known to all of America. A woman who made no enemies, who stepped on no one to rise to fame. A woman who chose kindness, and who, perhaps, died in absolute solitude, without anyone knowing. Perhaps the most terrifying thing is not death itself, but being erased, bit by bit, until even you are no longer allowed to be yourself. The human skin-bound journal behind the wine rack. As forensic staff prepared to seal off the scene, one of the workers noticed something strange behind the old wine rack. The wall was uneven, and 2 bricks in the lower corner were darker than the rest. When they gently chipped away at the crumbling mortar, they uncovered a hollow space just large enough for a hand to reach inside. Within it was an object wrapped in burlap and tied with tarnished copper wire. The fabric disintegrated at a touch, revealing a thick, time-worn, and mold-scented leather-bound journal. There was no name on it. No title. No cover page. No dates. But the first line, written alone in the center of the first page, silenced the room. I was not allowed to leave the roll. I was only allowed to be buried with it. The handwriting was real. Neat, yet suppressed. In some places, the ink was blurred as if tears had once fallen. The following pages were fragmented, a series of broken sentences, like whispers in the night. No one remembers me unless I'm in costume. I once screamed, but they said I was just staying in character. They changed the lines while I slept. I no longer knew what was real. The journal named no one directly, offered no accusations, yet midway through was a list, unordered, written in red ink: Sue, Gordon, B., Harry, the man with the gold watch, the one in brown shoes behind the camera. Some were violently crossed out, the pen strokes so deep they pierced the next page. Others were circled, as if to mark something unfinished. From page 42 onward, the handwriting became unsteady. The strokes trembled. The final line on the final page repeated over and over, like someone clinging to consciousness amid a spiral of fear. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. Handwriting analysts later confirmed, the entire contents of the journal matched the handwriting of Donna Douglas, cross-checked with personal letters, ministry notebooks, and rare documents preserved at the Louisiana State Library. No one on the investigative team said it aloud, but everyone knew, if the body in the cellar was indeed Donna Douglas, then this journal, quiet, aching, desperate, was what she left behind. Not to accuse. Not to testify. But simply to exist. To have one place, however small, where her voice was no longer replaced by someone else's. And as those final lines faded under the cold yellow light of the forensics lab, it became clear, she may never have waited to be saved. She only waited to be found. 2 lawsuits that shook Hollywood. Behind the innocent smile of Elly May Clampett stood a woman who twice dared to file lawsuits against some of the entertainment industry's biggest giants, and who had no fear in taking on both Disney and Mattel. On June 10, 1993, Donna Douglas sent shockwaves through Hollywood when she and her partner Kurt Wilson, of Associated Artists Entertainment Incorporated, filed a $200 million lawsuit against a lineup of powerhouse names: Walt Disney Company, Whoopi Goldberg, Bette Midler, several associated production companies, and Creative Artists Agency. At the center of the lawsuit was the hit film Sister Act, which Douglas and Wilson claimed had been blatantly plagiarized from a screenplay they had developed back in 1985, based on a book they owned the rights to, A Nun in the Closet. According to the complaint, there were over 100 similarities between their script and Sister Act, and the script had even been submitted multiple times to Disney, Goldberg, and Midler during the years 1987 to 1988. When Disney offered a $1 million settlement, Douglas refused. But in the end, the court sided with the defendants. Co-plaintiff Kurt Wilson bitterly remarked, "They would have had to copy it word for us to win." But it didn't stop there. Nearly 2 decades later, in 2011, Donna Douglas once again stunned the media by filing a lawsuit against Mattel and CBS Consumer Products, accusing them of illegally using her likeness to produce a Barbie doll version of Elly May Clampett in a classic TV collection. The product featured Donna's image as Elly May, but according to her, no permission had ever been granted. Though CBS claimed they held rights to the character and didn't need the actress's consent, Douglas firmly insisted on reclaiming control over her personal image and demanded $75,000 in compensation. The case was closed on December 27, 2011, and while the terms were never disclosed, both parties publicly declared themselves satisfied with the outcome. But to those who followed the story, one thing was clear: Donna Douglas, the sweet star of the Beverly Hillbillies, was never someone who could be pushed around. She fought back. And she never regretted it. From crown to collapse. Before the stage lights burned away her last illusions, Donna Douglas was just a shy Southern girl stepping onto the platform of her very first beauty pageant in 1957. No one expected it, but she won. The crown of Miss Baton Rouge came to her like a dream, sweet, fleeting, and full of promise. Before she could catch her breath, she was crowned Miss New Orleans. 2 consecutive victories convinced her that fate was paving the way. Donna began to dream big. Very big. She packed her bags, cradled her young son, and left the quiet fields of Louisiana for New York City, a place she believed would lift her innocent dreams into reality. She began her career in advertisements, her bright face lighting up classic toothpaste commercials, a beauty so perfect it almost seemed unreal. She continued appearing on The Perry Como Show, then The Steve Allen Show, in roles without names, without lines, where all that was needed was a pretty face and a practiced smile. A New York newspaper dubbed her Miss Byline, yet another hollow prize from the media machine. Donna smiled as she flaunted her crown on The Ed Sullivan Show, but no one saw that behind that smile was a woman struggling to prove her worth in a world where women were meant to be seen, not heard. Hal Wallace, the legendary producer behind Casablanca, noticed her. He gave her her first film role, Marjorie in Career, 1959. That was her ticket into Hollywood, and the door that opened to a road from which she could never turn back. From a girl with a crystal-clear dream to a woman swallowed by artificial glamour, that beginning, no matter how beautiful, was merely the opening line of a fate already written. Leaving home to be herself on screen. Donna Douglas left Louisiana with a heart full of hope, but carried a burden that Hollywood wouldn't accept: her thick, sweet Southern accent, dismissed as unsophisticated in the heart of the film capital. Upon arriving in Los Angeles, she quickly realized that to survive, she needed more than talent, she had to silence the voice of her homeland within herself. According to the Charlotte News, Donna was advised that if she wanted to last in the entertainment industry, she had to eliminate her signature accent. She didn't complain, didn't rebel, she quietly retrained every syllable, every rhythm, to become a more acceptable version of herself. But life has a way of playing cruel jokes. Just as she mastered speaking like a native Californian, she was invited to audition for the Beverly Hillbillies. The directors liked her, but gave her a condition in reverse: "You're cast, but you'll need to relearn your southern accent." And so Donna, the woman once told to erase her roots, now had to reconstruct the very trait she'd been told was a liability, in order to become Elly May Clampett, the country girl America would come to adore. Despite her fame, Donna never considered herself a true actress. She humbly confessed, "I've always been more of a fan than a performer. I respect talent and genuinely admire people who really have it." But she knew she was lucky, and grateful. "I love the Hillbillies. I signed a 6-year contract for the show, and I think life is just wonderful. I just want to do my best and keep everything going smoothly," she once said, like someone who had walked through a silent battle just to preserve a small piece of herself. Running away from Hollywood. To many, Hollywood is where dreams begin, the land of lights where ambition becomes reality. But for Donna, it was merely a glamorous stage of falsehoods, where sweetness existed only in scripts and spotlights, not in the hearts of people. As Elly May Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies, she became a symbol of gentle charm on American television. But behind that smile was a woman who increasingly felt consumed by the very world that once praised her. "I never really liked it here," she admitted in a 1965 interview. It wasn't a complaint, it was a quiet acknowledgement from someone who had seen through every layer of performance the industry had to offer. Hollywood made her feel out of place. She couldn't find truth in the applause, nor sincerity behind the compliments. The only thing she wanted was to go home. "I want to go back to Louisiana, to the house and the swimming pool I built for my family." It sounded simple, but beneath that statement was a yearning, to escape the noise of film sets and return to the sound of birds and rustling trees. While filming Frankie and Johnny with Elvis Presley, arguably the biggest movie of her career, she regretted accepting the role. Though it was the kind of opportunity many dreamed of, Donna only felt like an outsider. She made no effort to hide her disappointment in the part. The one thing she looked forward to each day wasn't the next scene, but the ticket home. While other stars spent lavishly on parties, luxury cars, and fashion, Donna quietly sent most of her paychecks back to her parents, a habit she maintained for years as an unspoken gesture of gratitude. In Hollywood, she didn't live like a star. She existed like a woman waiting for her chance to leave. After the Beverly Hillbillies, Donna gradually withdrew from the spotlight. Public appearances became rare, until her name was mostly heard only during reruns of the old show. By the mid-1970s, when people asked where she had gone, the answer was surprisingly simple: she was selling homes in California. "I started doing real estate in 1974 after the show ended, and I did it for about 4 or 5 years, she shared in a later interview. Between real estate contracts, she traveled, dabbled in country music, recorded a few gospel albums, and occasionally appeared on talk shows to promote her own products, such as Elly May dolls or a pet fragrance called Critter Cologne. There were no scandals. No desperate comebacks. Donna seemed to have stepped out of Hollywood not because she had been cast aside, but because she had come to understand, all too clearly, what it truly offered. Wealth and legacy left behind. On January 1, 2015, the world bid farewell to one of America's most memorable television icons, Donna Douglas, the actress forever associated with the image of Elly May Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies. She passed away in Zachary, Louisiana, the peaceful hometown she had chosen to return to after stepping away from Hollywood's dazzling lights. According to Celebrity Net Worth, her total net worth at the time of death was estimated to be around $500,000, a modest figure when compared to the cultural impact she left behind. But for Donna Douglas, the value of life was never measured in numbers. Her decades-long career was marked not only by a legendary role, but also by a simplicity, honesty, and steadfastness rarely found in an industry built on glamour and illusion. Donna passed after a period of battling pancreatic cancer, one of the most difficult types to treat. Her granddaughter confirmed the sad news to TMZ, stating that she passed peacefully, at home, surrounded by family, without hospitals, without machines, just the people she loved, in the exact way she had always wished, a warm, quiet, and contented ending. Donna Douglas's private life was not loud, but it wasn't without its turns. She was married twice and had one son, Danny Bourgeois, from her second marriage. Danny later became an engineer, living quietly, away from the media. Donna also left behind 3 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren, who became her pride in her final years. Though her acting career took her all over the country, it was family who remained Donna's true anchor, the people she always mentioned with gratitude in her rare interviews. One thing few people knew: after stepping away from television, Donna Douglas devoted most of her time to community work, writing faith-based books, and giving inspirational talks at churches, schools, and charity organizations. She published a children's book titled Donna's Critters and Kids, Children's Stories with a Bible Touch, and became a symbol of faith, kindness, and compassion. To her, loving others and staying true to her values mattered more than any role, any praise, or any multimillion-dollar contract. Throughout her career, Donna maintained a pure public image and stayed away from scandal. She never considered herself a big star, just someone lucky to be loved by the audience, as she once said. Even through high-profile lawsuits and life's unexpected turns, she faced everything with calm and grace. When she passed, few headlines screamed her name. But in the hearts of millions of fans, those who grew up with the sweet laughter of the Beverly Hillbillies, her departure was a long, quiet note. Donna Douglas didn't leave as a dazzling superstar. She left as a woman who lived fully by her ideals, who loved without calculation, and who left behind a legacy far greater than wealth, one of beautiful, lingering, heartfelt memories in the minds of those who cherished her. And that brings us to the end of today's story. Thank you for staying with us until the final moment, as we walk together through the emotional chapters of Donna Douglas's life. If this story touched something in your heart and you'd like to keep exploring other journeys, lives once lit by the spotlight, now quietly resting in the shadows,